So what we're going to do in this particular video is we're going to use Mixamo Rig, and we're going to convert into a custom rig so that we can use both the Mixamo animations, and just in case if we need to do our own any other animations, we can use that, and still it's just going to be one rig, right? So it just makes the work a lot easier. So it's just one rig, and you can use all the Mixamo animations, and you can also use your own animations just using the same rig. So we're just going to use the custom rig from Mixamo. Okay, let's get started. So we need a character. So let me quickly create the character. I'm using Fuse here, so you can just use whatever you want. You can use Make Human, Fuse, or any Blender, you know, whatever you want. So first, let's get the character ready. Alright, the character is ready. Let's export it. File, export as OBJ. So OBJ, FBX, whatever it is, it's just fine. So open it, yep, save this as Commando. Not that Commando, the real Commando. Export it. Now, go to Mixamo website and log in first, right? So if you don't have an ID yet, just first go ahead and sign up for it. So we can use all these lot of animations here. So first we have to upload the character. I have already tried it earlier for this particular one, so we have the character in there. So upload the character and go to, yes, bring the folder inside. So Commando, and drag and drop the Commando OBJ file here. Just drag and drop it. It's uploading. Alright, so first make sure it's in T-pose, hit next, and align the chin, all these points, chin, wrist. Make sure it's use symmetry is enabled so that you know you don't have to do it for both left and right. It just gets mirrored. Awesome. Knees. Awesome. Groin. Yep. Make sure when you place the groin, just place it slightly inside the mesh. You know? Yeah. Okay. So here there are lots of options. Standard skeleton, 3 fingers, 2 fingers. I don't really understand why they have 2 fingers. Probably one for all the 4 fingers and one for the thumb. Yeah. I don't think there is any creature or any living being with 2 fingers. Yeah, probably for that. So no fingers, 3 fingers. We're gonna go with standard skeleton. So check standard skeleton, hit next, and he's gonna dance for some time. Awesome. The rig is ready. So make sure the animation is looking fine, you know, so it's good. So hit next, and yeah, I know there is already a character inside, so just replace it. Yeah, hit next. Now just select some animation to just see if it is working fine. Yep, it is working fine, good. But we are not going to use this particular animation. We're just going to use this for rig. But of course you can use the same animations if you want to, but for now we are using it for rigging purpose. So download it, and FBX, you can use FBX for Unity, but okay, this one is going to be for both for Unity and for Unreal, so you can use it for both. So we'll go with FBX so that we do a root joint on our own, so that we can use for both Unreal and Unity. So it doesn't matter. So click on FBX with skin and 30 frames per second. Doesn't matter because we're not going to use the animation anyways. And keyframe reduction none, and just download it. Done. Okay, defeated. We got it. Now get it into Blender. So this one is actually Blender 2.83. But anyways, there aren't much changes with the rigging, so it doesn't really matter. So I guess after 2.8, any version should do fine. So hit delete. Awesome. Now go to File, Import, and FBX, and it's gonna be inside here. Yeah, and Anim, and this is the one. So select this and make sure animation, armature, yeah, everything is good. make sure animation is checked on, or especially when you're importing animation, you need to have this one checked on. But right now we're going to use only for rigging, so we're going to delete the animation anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So select it and import it. Awesome. Now first thing, let's see. First the animation is playing. Okay, yeah, animation is there, but anyways we don't want the animation. So first select the skeleton, and first we have to see the skeleton properly. So select the skeleton and armature, and go to armature display here, and then go to viewport display and make sure in front is checked, enabled, so that you can see all the joints. Cool. Now select the joint, the armature, and go to post mode. So you can either go to post mode by selecting this object mode here under this tab, go to post mode, or you can use Control Tab to go directly into post mode. So that is a shortcut. So select all the armature bones, and you can see the animation keyframes are here. So anyways, we don't need the animation frames, so select all these frames and delete them. Delete key or X, whatever it is, so delete it, and delete keyframe, so delete all the keyframes. So we don't have animation anymore. Now first thing that we need to do is we have to reset all the bones first. So Alt G for resetting the position, and Alt R for resetting the rotation. So cool. So we have the T-pose, and we are good to go with our own custom rigging. Now, one of the main reasons why I prefer at times using Mixamo Rig is, especially for games, if in case we are going for facials, and we won't be able to use the Mixamo Rig. But in our case, it's just going to be a game skeleton, so probably mostly the actions. So in this case, half the work is done, that is skinning is done, and also the skinning is done well, because Mixamo's rigging, auto rigging is really good. The skinning process is really good. At times, it is actually better than Rigify. Yeah, hard truth. So there are a couple of joints which we don't want. So this does nothing, you can see, and this one does nothing, and similarly this one, and similarly this one. They just is extra joints that are there, but that doesn't mean you can go ahead and delete them, because this is the rig structure which Mixamo is going to give it to you. So if you want animations to be used from Mixamo, we have to keep the same rigging setup. We can't delete anything. It's better not to delete anything. So what we do is, instead of deleting them, we're going to hide them. So Tab will allow us to get into edit mode, or you can go here and change it to edit mode. So now we're going to put these layers into bone layers, so that we don't see them, as we don't need them. So select all these things, and this is the bone layers. But actually, since earlier I was a Maya user, and when I came back to Blender, it was really hard for me to understand this. So that is where I got this really amazing add-on for rigging. That is, come on, where is it? Yeah, bone layers. It's nothing but the same bone layers represented in this layer form, which is really cool. I'll add this add-ons link in the description below. So I think it's really cool, guys. So you just have to check it out. So first, let me uncheck this one, hide empty. So first, let's put this into this layer. So this is going to allow you to add whatever it is selected to assign it to this particular layer. So select it, and everything is on this one. So select this one, and I'm going to name this as extra. All right. So those bones are gone. So they're hidden now. Good. Now let's get back to post mode. So let's just check if everything is fine. Awesome. And hip is, spine is good. All rotation, good. And then good. And then, yep, fingers, wrist, everything looks good. Okay, so what do we need to create a custom rig for us to animate using this particular, because the skinning and everything is done. So the only thing that we need is, we need an IK hand, FK hand, and an IK leg and FK leg. So that's it. We just need that. So let's go ahead and do it. So in order to do that, we are going to duplicate the bones. Right. So go to edit mode and select these 3 layers. These ones, right? And then shift D for duplicating it and put this in a separate layer in this one, so that we have it separate. So let's name this one as, what do you call, FK? Yeah, let this be FK. Now similarly, we need one for the legs. It depends actually. If you want to have an FK leg, you can have it, but I'm not gonna have an FK leg because most of the cases we don't use it. So I'm just gonna go with one extra pair of joints that is gonna be for IK. So shift D and save it in a separate layer for IK. Awesome. So we have IK legs here. Okay, first let me name this as deform. And also, actually, when you go to post mode, okay, whatever it is, if you select any particular joint, this is the bone layer, that is bone properties. Yeah, so select the bone properties and you have this naming. I prefer not to change the names because if you're using Mixamo Animations, then there might be mismatch in the names when we are trying to import the animations. There might be and there might not be. At times it, it happens sometimes, and sometimes it does work. So I prefer not to change the names. So yeah, if you want, you can go ahead and try it out. All right, so we have FK, that is this one. Yeah, and I'm going to do one more thing, that is for IK. So let's duplicate this again, shift D and put this under IK. So we have IK and FK. So first, in order to see the difference, I'm going to the pose mode and make sure, okay, first thing, we need to rename it just for the IK and FK things alone. So this is IK. So go to bone and change this one as IK. So we have renamed all these joints. Good. Now let's just reposition these slightly so that we see some difference between IK and FK. All right. So first of all, FK is already done. So they are interlinked. So no issues. So change it to local. Yeah, good. And IK, we need to have the IK handle, right? So we're gonna do that first. So in order to do that, first let's go to edit mode and let's switch off FK and select this particular joint. Yeah, that one. And go to top view and hit E to extrude the bone and Y to extrude it, sorry, Z to extrude it in 90 degrees. So extrude it and select this one and move it like this. So when you move it, you can see it is actually moving along with other bones. So what we need to do is we're gonna right click and parent and clear parent. So we're gonna disconnect it. So clear and clear parent. Right now it's disconnected and it's separate. Cool. So but we don't want to separate it actually. So let's just be there. Change this name. We're going to use this one as a left hand IK control. So how do we do it? We need to get into post mode now. Make sure that is remember one thing, that is when you create bones or move the position of the bones, when you're editing something, like doing anything with the armature, we will be doing it in edit mode. If you're doing constraints, if you're doing animations, even when it comes to constraint parent, we will be doing it in post mode. But the normal parent, control P parenting, the real parenting, that happens in edit mode. Whatever changes that you do in the armature, that is happens in edit mode, and whatever constraints and that can be animated, it happens in post mode, because usually constraints can be animated. It can, for example, if I pick up an object, it can be constrained. So constraints, it can be animated, so it happens in post mode. So that is the reason why we have IK in post mode. So let's go to post mode now. Awesome. Now select the IK handle, that is the main control, and select the joint here, that is your forearm joint, and you can either use the shortcut Ctrl+Shift+C, or you can go to this particular option, that is your bone constraint properties. Go here and add bone constraint, so you can use either one of them. So but what we are going to do is we're going to do a Ctrl+Shift+C, that is shortcut, which is really handy, and we're going to use inverse kinematics here. So IK, inverse kinematics. You can immediately notice there is a yellow dotted line that represents IK, and also the bone is changed slightly into yellow. Yes, that's because of IK. Now here under bone constraint, you can see that the IK is actually added. So there is a pole target that is yet to be assigned. Right now we are not going to add pole target. We will be adding pole target at last. Now there are two other options here: iterations, ignore iterations. There is an option called chain length. So this is right now in 0. That is the reason it's been connected directly to the hip joint, but we're going to change it as 2, which means these two joints. So if I start moving this, you can notice only these two joints are getting affected. So that is a chain length. So Alt G to reset the position of the IK handle. Now cool, but one thing that we noticed here is if I move my IK handle, you can notice it's kind of bending 45 degrees downwards, but we want it to move straight back, but that's not happening here. So we're going to fix that. So select the IK constraint, that is this particular bone, and go to bone properties here, and here when IK is added to a particular bone, you get these inverse kinematics options enabled here. So here what I'm going to do is we have this option called lock IKX, IKY and IKZ. So we're going to see which one works fine. Yep, if you lock IKX, you can see that the bone only goes in that particular elbow direction. So the elbow works perfectly fine now. So Alt G to reset the position. Now good. Now the next thing that we need to take care of is this one. That is when we move the IK handle, that is the hand, IK hand, we don't want this particular wrist portion to move along. Or in other words, when I move this one, rotate, it should actually rotate. So that is not happening. So what we need to do is select this one. First go to edit mode, select this one, and go to relations, bone properties and relations, and here we have this parent. That is right now it is parented to forearm IK, that is this particular bone. We don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this and first remove the parent, and then we're going to add this IK handle, this one. So change this to, what is the name of this one? Okay, this is the one. Just copy it and just paste it here. Enter. Now let's go to edit post mode, and if I select this one and move it around, the wrist moves along, rotates along, but when I move like this, you can see it's still it holds on the wrist position. So if I want to move it separately, I can move it. That's really cool. So the IK is done. Now IK is done and FK is also done. Yeah, just place it slightly like this, and this is your deform joint because it deforms the body, the mesh. So this is your deform joint. All right, now what we need to do is we want to create a switch, that is IK FK switch, so that we can switch between IK and FK hands, right? So what we're going to do is, and one other important thing that we forgot here is, when you select any particular bone,
Here there is an option called deform. These joints actually deform the mesh, but these ones are just for controls. So we don't want deform to be enabled in these ones. So select this one, deform, uncheck, deform, uncheck, deform, uncheck. So whatever bones that are supposed to be the controls, those things doesn't need the deform option enabled. So we have everything ready now. Now we need to create a switch. So go to edit mode first, because we are going to create a bone, that is edit the armature. So select this particular bone, go to front view, and hit E to extrude, and it's going to be in Z axis, X axis, okay, Y axis, okay, good, Y axis, and select it, right click, parent, and clear parent. So clear the parent, so clear parent, and now we're gonna make it slightly to the top. All right, so this one is going to be IK FK switch. So now let's go to post mode again and enable FK and IK layers. Awesome. Now we're going to get into a concept called drivers. So pay a little attention, but it's very simple. If you start understanding it, it's really simple, but you gotta practice it a couple of times. So only then you'll be able to understand, and also try playing with it. You know, like try different options. I'll show you what drivers do here. Just a moment. Okay, here the concept here is, this is the driver, that is the IK-FK switch. That is a driver, and it's going to drive the IK-FK switch over, right? So this is the driver, and these are driven. The joints are driven by this particular driver. So first, what we need to do is select this joint and go to bone properties, collapse everything, and we have this option called custom properties. Now click add, and immediately you can see one new property is added. This property will be reflected here. First, hide these empty layers so you don't see that. Now you can see the prop is enabled here. It's added on. Now we can go ahead and first edit it. So I'm going to name this as LH, that is left hand, IK, FK. And the value here is 1.0 and the default value is 1.0. This is nothing but 0 to 1. That is, if it is 0, it's going to be IK, and if it is 1, it is going to be FK. So the reason why we have 1.0 is, if you just mention it as 1, what happens is it just goes between 0 and 1. There is no 0.5, 0.2, there is no decimal values in between. But if you have it as 1.0, we can smoothly switch over between IK and FK, you know, or else it's going to be like, this is FK and this is IK, so it's like 0 and then 1. There is no like transition, smooth transition in between. So that is the reason we have 1.0, which is a good thing. And then click OK. All right, so left hand IK FK switch is ready. Now select the deform joint. First select the parent, right? So here this IK is going to drive the deform joints. Like, so however we move the IK rig, these bones are also going to move along with that. So this is going to be the parent. So select the parent first and then the child, and Control Shift C, and first do the copy location. Actually there is an option for copy transform that, you know, it copies all the location, rotation and scale, but we don't want to do that right now for IK. I'll show you why in a couple of minutes. So first let's do copy location. So copy location, Control C and Control Shift C again, and copy rotation, Control Shift C and copy scale. Good. Now let's do the same for this one as well, the other bone. So select the parent and then the child and Control Shift C, copy location, Control Shift C, rotation, Control Shift C and scale. Do the same for the wrist as well. So parent and then child, do the same. Okay, when it comes to this one, we can directly go ahead and do a Control Shift C and copy transform directly. Okay, so now why did we do a Control Shift C, location separately, rotation separately, and scale separately? The reason being, if I move this one now, you can notice that the rig is detached, but I want the rig to be, stretched. So what do we do? What we can do is, let me switch off deform, and okay, when I select this IK, go to this inverse kinematics option. Here you notice that this is where we logged our IKX. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a value of like 0.05. Oops, not 5, just 0.5. This is going to enable the IK stretch. So now if I stretch it, you can notice the IK stretch is enabled. But at the same time, you can notice since it is stretching, the scale is actually, the bone is actually scaling up, and which in turn, you can notice the deformed bone is also scaled because it is IK, it's parented to the IK. I hope it's clear. So, so we don't want that to happen. This is the reason why we do a copy location separately, copy rotation separately, and scale separately. Now we have the freedom to, fix this one. So what we do is, let's go to, IK. Okay, not the IK. Go to deform, and select this particular joint and go to bone constraint. And these are the things. There is copy location, copy rotation, and copy scale is all added to this bone constraint portion. So what we need is, we just need to disable X and Z. We want only the Y to be direction to be enabled, so that it just stretches but it doesn't scale up in X and Y. So switch off X and switch off Z, and cool. That's it. So now you can see, let's disable, how much ever you scale it up, nothing is happening. It's good. All right, so the FK stretch is fixed now. Now the hand is parented to the IK. Now we need to parent it to the FK as well. So what we do is switch off IK first and do the same process. Select this one. That is the parent first. This is the FK rig. So select the FK forearm, arm, okay, and then select the child, Control Shift C, and do a direct copy transform, because here there is no stretching because it's an FK. So direct copy transforms. So it just copies all the transforms. Good. Now this is your FK rig. Cool. Because I've just disabled deform here. Let me, so that you can see it properly. Now IK is there, but it doesn't affect anymore. Now how is this thing controlled now? So let's switch on deform and switch off FK. Now if you notice, go to the object constraint, and this copy location is for IK, copy rotation is for IK, and copy scale is also for IK. So you remember that. Now copy transform is actually for FK. If I reduce the influence to 0, you can see it just goes and snaps back to the IK. So this is the one which is going to control the IK and FK switch, right? So again, the same thing here as well. Copy scale, okay, copy transform, and that's it. So this is what is actually going to drive the IK and FK switch. So we already have the switch here. That is here, left hand IK FK. Now this is where we copied our data path. So right click and copy data path, and we're going to assign it to this particular option. So select the bone and go to bone constraints and right click on this and add driver. So add driver, and immediately you see this small window here. So go to averaged value, right? There are multiple options. We don't want to talk about all these things right now. So we will talk about like scripted expression in a few moments. But This one is actually average value. So select the average value and select this option as single property, because there are multiple options: transform channel, distance, rotational difference. But this is not a transform channel. Transform channels are X, Y, and Z. But we have only one option, that is influence IKFK, that is IKFK switch 0 to 1. So it's just one single value. And one other thing is, if you move away from the window, it just goes off. So right click again and edit driver. So open it up again. And we don't want the transform channel. We don't want the rotational difference. We don't want the distance. We will be using single property, because IKFK switch is actually something that we created. It has single value 0 to 1. So it's a single property. So enable that one. And here select armature, because that is only armature here. So armature, and here select it and Control V. Paste the copy data path. Remember, we copied the data path and we're going to paste it here. So hit enter. Cool. Now just click on update dependencies. Yeah, so it just updates. And next thing, we're going to do the same for this one as well. But instead of doing it again and again, we're just going to copy the same driver. So right click here and copy driver and just paste it on this one. So right click and paste driver, and do the same for this one as well. Right click. Okay, this one, there are 2 copy transforms in the wrist alone. So let's just name this as IKFK. Yeah. Right click and paste driver. Now if we select this one and make it 0, it goes to IK, and if it make it 1, it goes to FK. So it's all good. Awesome. So we fixed it. Now there is one other thing. We are actually going to use these things for controlling, right? Switch off deform and switch on FK. So we're going to, this is FK. And okay, one other thing is this deform, this bone is actually in deform. So we have to change it to, I'm going to create another layer, call it as controls. Yeah. And I'm going to put this inside this one. Enable it. All right, now hide everything else. Awesome. Now there is one thing pending for hand alone. That is, when we switch between IK and FK, when we go to IK, the FK joint shouldn't be visible. When we go to FK, the IK joint shouldn't be visible. So we have to play around with the visibility of this one, of both these joints. It is going to be slightly tricky, but stay with me, guys. It's going to be simple if you understand it. Okay, so what do we do? Go to bone properties. We're going to use this IKFK. When we have the IK enabled, we don't want to see the FK controls, because we're going to change this one into controls later. So because these are the ones which controls the FK, so we don't want to see this one. All right. So what do we do? We're going to select the bone properties for this particular option. Select the bone properties and go to viewport display. And here there is an option called hide. Right? So this is going to hide the display in viewport. So what we do is right click and add driver for this visibility property. So add driver, and we get this driver editor. Earlier we used average value. So one more important thing which I forgot to mention is when we use this one, what did average value means is, if the value is 0, it is going to correspond to the value whatever it is there. So right now when it is in 0, it's actually in IK. So that is the reason. So when we change the value of 0 here, it just goes to IK. But if we make it as 1, it is actually in FK. So that is the reason when we change the value to 1 here, that also changes to 1. So it is just the whatever value we give it in here, it's going to reflect in the bones as well. So that is what is average value. But now we are talking about scripted expressions just in a moment. So hide the deform and go to bone properties, and here, since we have already added the driver but didn't really do anything, still we have this purple color box. The box has changed into purple color. Yeah. So right click and edit driver. Okay. Now we have the driver property here, driver editor here. We have this called as scripted expression. So here variable plus false, that is negative. False is it is hidden. So that is the value here. So here go change it to single property and again armature and paste the value, enter, and update dependencies. Now what you can notice what actually happened is we mentioned it as false. So it just got invisible, it just got disabled. It's actually hidden. Now we're going to do the same. So right click here, copy driver and paste it on this one. Right click and paste driver, select it, right click, paste driver. We have copied all the drivers to the FK joints. Now if you notice, the hand is actually right now in FK, right? So this is, so right now the FK is supposed to be visible, but actually it's invisible. But we'll fix that in a moment. But let's just see if at least something is happening. So select the IK-FK switch, and if we make it 0, you can notice the FK arms are visible now. So if you make it 1, it is invisible. Cool. So something is happening. So we'll do the same thing for IK as well. In case of IK, these two things are like not really needed. So we'll just put these two into extras, right? And this one also into extras, because only this one is actually, going to be animated. So select that one and right click and paste the driver. We will be adding the pole vector just in a moment. So right now everything is invisible. But if we adjust the IK-FK switch, you can see when it is 0, it is visible, everything is visible, and when it is 1, it's not visible. But we need to slightly adjust this. When it is 0, only the IK should be visible, and when it is 1, only the FK should be visible. Correct? So what we will do is select any joint, right click and go to edit driver. So go to open drivers editor. So open this one and a new window will pop up, right? Now, yes, new window. Where is it? Yeah, this is the new window. This is your driver editor. So what we are going to do is open it up, and here we have left IK handled, left hand FK, left hand forearm FK, left arm FK. So these three things should be reversed. That is the thing. So let me expand it. You can notice there is value. When we change the value to 1, this is 0 to 1. So when we change the value from 0 to 1, these things are getting animated. So the only thing that we have to do is we have to invert the value for FK alone. So select it and shift H to hide everything else and just to see whatever is we have selected. So select it and grab it in Y direction, place it down here, and select the other one, grab it Y and place it as value 1. Now you can notice when I move past 1, you can see the difference in the viewport there. Cool. We'll do the same thing for the others as well. Select it, GY, place it as 1, and select it, GY, place it below 0. We're just inverting the values because in an IK, 0 to 1. So when it is 0, the IK alone should be visible. When it is 1, FK alone should be visible. Right now, in 0, everything is visible, and in 1, nothing is visible. So we're just reversing it for FK alone. Cool. Now, if we go ahead and switch FK and IK, it works. Cool. Right? So we've got the IK and FK switch done. So switch on the deform, everything is good. Now select the FK joins. Okay, we don't want the deform, yeah. Select only the FK joins, Alt R to reset the rotations, and change this one to IK, and select this one, and Alt G to reset the transformation. Now let's go ahead and do the pole vector here. Switch on the extra so that we can see the IK handle. Now okay, we're gonna do the pole vector here. So go to edit mode, and select the joint, and go to top view, and E and Z, I guess, yeah, Z, and extrude it, clear parent, and just place it right there, and make this one left arm IK pole vector. Cool. Now let's go to post mode and select this one, go to bone constraints, and here mention it as armature, and then the name that is pole vector, left arm IK pole vector, there. Cool. Now where is IK? Yeah, this is the IK controls. Now when I move this, works perfectly fine. Now let's check this out. Pole vector is also working fine. Awesome. Control G to reset the position. Alright, so the hand portion is done, IK, FK, all these things are done. Now the only thing that is pending is our leg portion, so let's go ahead and do that. We already have duplicated the leg for IK joints, so we have it here. Now what I'm going to do is hide the controls, go to edit mode, and I'm going to do the same process, IK handle thing, but slightly different this time. So extrude it and place it somewhat like this. Let me open up the deform layer, and in edit mode I'm gonna place it inside like this so that it's easy for us to rotate it later. I'll show you in just a moment, because we're going to parent constrain this one, that is the foot joint, to the IK handle, so that whenever we move the IK handle, that also moves, and when we rotate it, that also moves along. Sorry, rotates along. Yeah. So this is the IK handle. Now switch off the deform and go to post mode. Select these two, Control Shift C, and inverse kinematics. So inverse kinematics, and select the joint. Go to inverse kinematics, bone constraint, and increase the chain length to 2. Cool. Now if I select it and move, why is nothing? Okay, go to edit mode, right click and clear parent. We forgot to clear the parent. So clear parent, so no parent anymore. Go to post mode, and if you move it up, yeah, works fine. So the IK is ready. So quickly I'm gonna deform this one, parent constraint the deform joints to the IK bones. Good. So select the IK first, that is the parent, and then the deform. So Control Shift C, and copy location, copy rotation as we did earlier, copy scale, so that copy and uncheck X and Y scale. Similarly do it for the other area as well. Select the IK. You can notice when I select a particular bone, the joint name is actually mentioned here, so which is really helpful. So shift select the deform, Control Shift C, copy location, copy rotation, Control Shift C, copy scale, and do the same. Collapse these and uncheck X and Y, and let me switch off deform and select this one, that is the IK bone, and go to bone properties, inverse kinematics, 0.05, that is your IK stretch. So whenever I move this one, get stretched. Nice. Now let's switch on the deform joints. Now if I move this around, this one is not moving, and also when I rotate it, it's not rotating. So what I'm going to do is select that as a main joint and select this one as a child joint and Control Shift C and copy transform. So now if I move this one around, the foot moves, and if I move it around, that also moves. Cool. So all right, yes, everything works fine. Now we need to so the foot is ready. Now we need to go for the ball control. So that is the foot roll, right? So go to edit mode and select this particular joint, go to right side view and extrude and Z direction. Yep, good. Now this is going to be the main foot control, because this is IK handle it's inside, so that's not needed now. We are going to use this one as a main foot control. So right click and clear parent first, because if this is the main control, it can't be a child of anything else, because right now it's parented to this one, this joint, so it can't be happening. So right click and clear parent. This is the main parent, clear parent. So now it's separate. All right, now what we do is select this IK handle inside, the one which is inside, that is the main, because that is going to move and rotate and all these things which is happening now. So I'm going to parent that one to this one, the main foot. So first let's rename this left leg foot control. Awesome. So select this one, I can handle, and name this as left leg foot control. Select it and go to post mode, and if I rotate it or try to move it, it works perfectly fine. So IK stretch is also working and rotation is also working, and at the same time the movement is happening, but actually the ball movement is not, the foot roll is not happening. That is because this is moving along with it, this is rotating along. So select the toe control, this one, and go to bone properties and relations. Here this is actually inheriting the rotation of the parent, so that is this one, right? So we don't know that, so uncheck the inherit rotation. Now if we move this, we have the ball rotation, right? And if we select this and move, we have the toe rotation. Cool. So I guess we are done. So we just have all these controls, whichever is necessary for creating the joints, for creating a custom animations. So final thing, we're just going to change this as controls. So go to object mode and let me go Shift A, create a simple, let's say a circle. Yeah, select an object circle, and whenever you adjust a circle, or like any mesh for that you're using it as a controllers for the rig, do not scale it up in the object mode, up or down in the object. Don't do any edit thing in the object mode. Always go into edit mode and select everything and scale it down, so that the scale value is still 1, so it doesn't get affected. Okay, so now this is your thing. And one other important thing, since we are going to do this for Unity and Unreal, we need a proper root joint. Right now everything is actually being parented. Go to post mode. Right now everything is done in actually main parented to the hip joint. We don't want that. We want a root joint separately. So go to edit mode and Shift A, so which automatically creates a new joint. Bring that down here, and this is going to be the root joint. So name this one as root. All right. Now when I move the root, the whole object is supposed to move. So go to post mode, and if we move the root, nothing is happening. So what we do is go select this, go to edit mode, select the hip joint and parent it to root. Good. Now go to post mode and check. Awesome. But still the foot control, this is the main foot control that has to be parented. So this is going to be parented to go to edit mode and parent it to root. Yep. Good. Now just go to pose and check. Yes, it works absolutely fine. Now one other thing that to still not parent it is this one. So go to edit mode. You can either parent this one, that is a pole vector, IK pole vector, to the hip, so that however the hip moves, the hand just goes along, even if it is IK. Or in this case, I'll just go ahead and parent it to the root. So select it and root joint. Like we created an IK-FK switch, you can also do one more thing, that is you can have a separate switch for following the hip or to follow the root. So that is also, you can do it. So yeah, go to post mode and select it and move it. Awesome. Now let's scale it down and see. Oops. Yep. Scale it down. Yes, it works absolutely fine. Good. Now the final thing is control. So select the root joint. In order to change the visibility or the shape of the control, the joint, what we do is select a particular joint and go to bone properties and viewport display here, and we have this option called custom object. So select either go ahead and select it and enter the name of the object, or just go ahead and click the picker and just pick the object here, and you can see the circle is there. Now go ahead and increase the scale like this. Yes, so on desired size, and you can just right now the orientation is changed because the orientation of the bone is different from the orientation of the original circle, that is this one, right? So what we'll do is go to edit mode and rotate it like this. Go to here and 90 degrees. Cool. Now you can just go ahead and select this one and delete it. Still, it's gonna be there. So similarly, you can just go ahead and create different circles for the different joints here. You can create a separate circle. You can just go ahead and create custom shapes. For example, let me do one other thing real quick. By the way, I haven't added the pole vector here. It's the same process, just I think you can just go ahead and do it. You already know how to do it. Now I'll just create a new let's say mesh and a cone. Yep, let that be a cone. Go to edit mode, select everything, scale it down, and go to edit mode, everything, just bring it to the top, go side view, place it properly. Yep. All right, so we have this one, and select this joint here, go to display custom object, viewport display custom object, and take the picker and object cone. So you can see the orientation is differing. So I don't want that. I want it to be slightly different. If you're not seeing it as a wireframe and instead you're seeing it as a object itself, then your wireframe option is not checked here. So if it is not checked, it's going to look like a proper object. So check wireframe so that it looks like a control, and select this one. Go to object mode, select this one, go to edit mode, A to select everything, and go ahead and rotate it. This one. Yes, this way. Okay, this way, minus 90 degrees. Cool. Select it and delete it. Not required anymore. Cool. So you can just go ahead and have multiple controls, different objects, create different objects for different shapes for the controls, and you're good to go. So for the conclusion, which is we have one rig that is just the Mixamo rig, altered so that you can use it for your own custom animations, and you can still use the Mixamo animations from the Mixamo website. So everything can be brought into one rig. So that's it. So if you just let me know in the comment section below what you think and give me some feedback so that I can improvise and do it better in the next video. So if you want to know about something in Blender or Unity, or Maya, just let me know. I'll try to come up with that video. So give it a thumbs up if you like the video and share it with your friends. And by the way, we've reached 500 subscribers, and which is a really great thing for me, which means a lot.
and go ahead and subscribe more, which encourages me to post more videos. So go ahead and do that. See you then. Bye bye.